In this lecture and the next few lectures, we're going to have a look on a tool called Beef. Beef is a browser exploitation framework allowing us to run a number of commands and attacks on a hooked target. A hooked target is basically a target which executes a URL or a JavaScript code given to us by Beef. Once a target is hooked, then we'll be able to run all the commands that Beef allows us to. So the first thing, we're going to have a look on the main interface of Beef, how to run it, and a very simple way of hooking a target to Beef. So to run Beef, all you have to do is just click on the Beef icon right here. One click. It's going to start it for us. And it's going to automatically run this URL, which contains the browser interface or the web interface of the tool. So it's asking us for a username and a password, and the username is Beef and the password is Beef as well. Once logged in, you'll see on the left, we'll see the browsers that we have access to. So we can see here we have the hooked browsers. So the online browsers are the browsers that we currently have access to, and the offline is the ones that we had access to. So at the moment, I can't run any commands on these browsers. I had access to these browsers before, but at the moment, I can't do anything on them. So what interests us is the online browsers. There's a number of methods to get browsers or targets hooked to Beef. So if we just get back to the terminal window, and if we have a look here, you can see that it's telling us the script that has to be executed on the target browser so that they get hooked to Beef. This is the script, and if you can find or think of any way to get this piece of code to be executed on the target computer, then that target will be hooked to Beef, and then you'll be able to run all types of commands on that computer. So you can use stuff that we already learned. So you can use DNS spoofing to spoof any request to any page, to a page containing the hook. Or you can do ARP poisoning and inject the hook code on its own into any page that the target person browses. And we'll have an example of that. You can use an XSS exploit, and we'll talk about that in the future in the web penetration testing section. And finally, you can just create a page and social engineer your target to open that page, a hook page. So I'm going to create a hook page today and show you how a target will be hooked. So the hook page that we're going to create can be used with the option of the social engineering and can also be used with the option of the DNS spoofing. So the page I'm going to create is very simple. Now you can use any page you want and place this code at the end of the page. So literally you can go on any website, copy the source of that website, and then place this piece of code under that. I'm going to be doing something simpler. I'm just going to put it into my var www HTML. So that's where the web server files are stored. And I'm going to modify my index.html. I'm going to delete everything, and I'm going to place the code that was given to us by the tool. You also need to modify the IP here and put the IP of the attacking machine, so the IP of the Kali machine. And my IP here is 10.20.14.207. So we're good to go. And basically now any person that browses this page, the index.html page, they will be hooked to my Beef browser or to my Beef framework. So we also need to start the web server. So Apache is not running. So to start it, we do service Apache 2 start. And that's it. Apache is running. Now, again, you can use social engineering or you can use DNS spoofing to get your target person to browse that page. You can upload that page into a remote server and get the access to. You can think of any way you want. So at the moment, I'm going to just browse it through my browser, and it's at 10.207. Hit enter. So my page doesn't really say anything. But if we go to our Beef here, you'll see that we have a new IP in the online browsers. And if we click on that IP, you'll see basic details about the target computer. So we can see that it's using Mozilla 5 with Windows 10. It's Firefox 47.0. So you can also see the installed plugins. These are very useful if you wanted to run exploits, buffer overflow exploits on the target computer. You can also see the page URL which you managed to get the hook from. And you can see cookies information at the bottom as well, and details about the date and all that, and the screen size. If you go on the commands, that's the place that we're going to be using mostly in the future videos. This will allow you to run a large number of commands and attacks on the target computer. We'll be dealing with this later in future videos. The rider will allow you to see and create HTTP requests. The XSS raise will show you if the target web page has any XSS vulnerabilities. The IPEC is a beef command prompt which will allow you to run beef commands from the command prompt instead of using the interface. And the network will give you an overview of the current network. Now once we're done with everything, you can click on the logout and you'll be logged out of the tool. This is just a basic overview of beef and the main commands and the interface, and a really basic way of hooking a target. Again, the page, you can get people to run this page using social engineering by using the URL shortening services to make it shorter, to make it look nicer, or you can do DNS spoofing and get the target person to redirect to your own web page where the beef framework is working, or where the beef hook is working.